to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products, and of course the people that are making a difference as we move towards 2050. And why 2050? In 2050 we'll have about 9 billion souls on the planet. Climate change will be accelerating at an ever increased pace. And we have to figure out how we're going to provide the food, the fuel, the fiber, and the basic infrastructure for all these people. And that basic infrastructure goes beyond just roads and bridges and ports and airplanes, but also the education and the health care and all the other things. And we have a gentleman who's really working on this area as far as the energy is concerned. And we're going to talk with him a little bit about looking at the energy that he's actually focused on, which is somewhat surprising, and at the same time how he's matching that, creating energy and looking at sustainable nutrition. So this is Dr. Daman S. Walia. He is the President, CEO of ARCTECH, Inc. And Daman, welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Well, thank you very much.
And tell us a little bit about your company, ARCTECH, and then we're going to talk about the unique focus that your company has that many other people have been actually forgetting about over the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, you know, our company's focus is on the biotechnology and especially, focused on creating what I call balanced sustainability solutions using coal as a feedstock. And our solutions are designed to meet the needs of our 7 billion people today and growing to 9 billion, and at the same time, meeting the needs of the planet. I kind of describe, what you see on the slide there, that our 7 billion of us, we have certain, must-haves and our wants, desires. Same way we have for our planet, what we must have and want and desires. So our focus is more on the must-haves. In terms of our human needs, the energy, food, water, and shelter, of course. And in the case of planet, to maintain our, the healthy soils, the water, the atmosphere.
Yeah, and what you're doing, Daman, is you're trying to balance this whole notion of the human needs, but at the same time, we really tend to forget that the planet itself has its own needs. We think it kind of cures itself. Yeah. But when you're going from 7 to 9 billion new people, and then we're saying the planet's going to take care of itself, it'll heal and cure itself, and the answer may be no. And so looking at your system and the types of innovation and technology you're developing, how are you actually helping the planet to cure itself and to sustain and take care of the 9 billion people we'll have by 2050?
Well, as I mentioned, our focus is using coal as a feedstock. The why coal? Coal, everybody is now...
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because, coal is really, is something that most people don't even want to talk about, let alone use. And there are a number of countries around the world that we won't even talk about. They're using lots and lots of coal. This was really the fossil fuel. This was the carbon of, the 19th and the 20th century, a little bit back, of course, back in the 18th century. But, it's like you're reverting back to where we were, but yet you're saying this is really one of the most advanced ways to move society forward, both from energy but also from nutrition.
That is correct.
How do you extract that and balance these two out?
Well, first, I'm intrigued with coal because this is the lowest cost carbon we have, available to all of us on all continents. That's the number one, and it's a plentiful. And this coal has been the basis of our first industrial revolution, which has brought us to where we are today. And we become wiser. We have learned that with our approach of using it has caused us some challenges. So we need to now look at another approach. So what really we have created a way out by which we can take coal using a biotechnology to convert it into clean fuels, as well as organic.
And I think they call it syn fuels, right? Synthetic fuels?
Not
Was
really.
that another name?
Well, you can call it a synthetic fuel because anything you make, would be, come into that category. So we can make into gas, we can convert this into diesel or jet fuels, or it can be converted into chemicals. But the most important, what we have done is coal is essentially being of a plant origin, is made up of humic material, which is the same as in the soil organic matter. So we actually have a plant here in Virginia. We're producing these products which are being used for growing foods. We can take.
Let's stop for just 1 minute, Daman. We're talking about humic. This is something that we've not really talked about on the Emerald Planet. We've talked about biochar, biomass.
Right.
We've talked about different products out there. But this thing about humic material, for the non-scientists out there, what is humic material?
Well, this is the most unique to our planet. This is essentially what makes our planet to be viable, as well as makes us viable. It's we generally call it a humus. The word comes from the Romans. They recognize that the soils which are rich in humic matter, you can put a seed in there and harvest very quickly. And so, this has been known. It's something our planet, the soil systems have been blessed with having this organic humic material, but we are depleting it. There's been a rapid loss of this humus material from the soils. So coal being of a plant origin, we have learned to make into a humic material, which can be then used to replenish the soils. And it's been approved by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, for growing organic foods, EPA. We have a number of government approvals. We then also make into another product, which is a water filter. And the third thing, which is to me still is astonishing, even though I've done it, that we convert using this material to convert bombs and explosives into fertilizer.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. And I really want to go back to these approvals that you have, because I think most people, when you say coal and approved for growing food,
yes,
and that you have the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, you have the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and others all saying that this is something that's viable, it's good for the planet, and many people are saying, really?
Well, not only that, we have an approval in China from the Bureau of Ag. In fact, my product is currently being used in China. And so this is really, we've done it really very systematic science, and and produced the data as well as information to make a case that the products we are making are safe. And the other underpinning of this whole approach is to create what I call a total value chain use. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is where we can apply this to the mined coals, as well as there's a huge amount of coal which still is unminable. Coal is like an iceberg. We only see one part. The 9 parts are below.
Yeah, we're looking at the coal, and as far as extraction, there's been a great movement against, the mountaintop mining of coal, where you're just literally cutting off it and then pushing it down into the valleys below. And then, of course, you have the deep sea mining, but also then you have the open pit mining. So looking at coal, looking at the various sources of coal, how do we balance that and make sure that we're, really enhancing what's going on in the environment, and we're not decreasing or degrading the environment in any way by using coal?
Well, see, number one, we need to help coal companies to make a lot more money. So far, they're just working on a very, very low margins. With my technology, we created 250 times more value from a ton of coal than they do it now. So they have more funds to be able to address all of these issues. I'm not for mining coal in a way which will cause environmental issues. We can do it
because we all have to live on the same planet, regardless of what's going on.
Right, and also we are being able to inject these microbes into the unminable coal and produce gas, so we don't have to send the miners into these deep into the holes, which is really, I've been in the coal mines on my knees, so I know. So here is what you're seeing on your screen is right now an example of use of my product for growing soybean in Minnesota. And here is a farmer who used this product, and you can just see from the size of the soybeans are bigger. He's gotten a 20% increase in yield. The nitrogen content in the soybean is almost 18-20% higher, which means that these soybeans are high in proteins. This is just one example. If you go on my website, you will see many examples of use of my product in all over the world.
Daman, let's just stop right here looking at this. Okay, so we increase the productivity by 15-20%.
Right.
We're increasing the size, also the protein values of that. What does that mean for a farmer, say, in Nigeria or India or Uganda or Vietnam, all these places? What does that mean to them as far as lifestyle and income, and then also investment back into the community?
See, biggest challenge in farmers in these countries have been they're a subsistence farmer. So they make only enough to just feed themselves. And whereas in our Western countries, we have farmers with a very large, tracts of lands, and they are production farmers. So with our approach, we can help them to increase yield, get a higher value for their products, and so they can actually be making money instead of just, subsistence. So countries like India, big challenge, they cannot add any more farmland.
Well, actually, it's decreasing because of going down into the aquifers.
Right,
are now putting water that has high salt content, and so you're actually decreasing constantly the amount of land available, not just by population expansion and growth of cities and townships and housing, but at the same time is just actually taking agricultural lands out of production. So in what you're doing, how can you take these millions of acres, say in the country of India, and actually bring them back into productivity?
Well, see, we can take, like in Egypt, for example, our product is being used to, increase the tolerance to the high salinity. Because even in Egypt, all that fertile land is, they've now built up metropolis. So the farmers are out there in the desert land, cultivating, and they're doing wonders. But it's, taking a lot of water. So our product is helping them to, deal with arid conditions, in terms of dealing with the salinity issues. This is a remarkable science. It's nothing new. Our nature has been using this science for centuries. And so all we have done is used our modern science technology to kind of bring it to a point, in a mode so that it can be applied and be made available to the farmers all over the world.
Daman, we only have about 15 seconds left. What do you see for the future of ARCTECH over the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I want to, basically I believe that we have a way to create a next industrial revolution, and we want to build these coal plants all over the world.
Okay, that's fantastic, because you're taking a natural resource right now that really is worldwide. Many people are against it. What you're doing is bringing it back into vogue with new technologies. And thank you for being with us as we're looking for new technologies, best practices, as we create the Emerald Planet.
Well,